It is very, very late in the year to be making practice squad moves, but that is exactly what Brett Veach is doing, and I think he has your old buddy Scrambling Armchair in mind, because sometimes this time of the year, especially with a bye week, it's difficult to have content to make. But we do here. I am, however, Mr. Veach, upset with you. A.T. Perry was cut from the Saints. I believe he passed all the way through waivers and was then signed by the Broncos to a futures reserves deal. So, wait, guess he had to have been passed through waivers to sign a futures reserves deal. So you should have been on that. Just call me next time and I will advise. Now, I have 7 thoughts at the end of this video about just what it means that the Kansas City Chiefs signed Mr. Brownlee to the practice squad. We have from A to Z Sports by Charles Goldman an article titled "Chiefs Sign Underutilized Ex-Jets Receiver to the Practice Squad Ahead of Divisional Round Game versus the Texans." Now, this word right here, underutilized, that is an intriguing word. Jason Brownlee has not had much productivity in the NFL. Jason Brownlee didn't have terribly much productivity through college. So I think that what we're doing here is commenting on the Jason Brownlee that the author thinks exists within the athlete. And that is going to be a recurring theme with Jason Brownlee, is that I'm trying to pull something up. Is going to be a recurring theme with Jason Brownlee, because every once in a while you look at him and you think, man, that guy's got it. But at the college level, 2020 at Southern Mississippi, 34 receptions, 610 yards. 2021 Southern Mississippi, 46 receptions, 643 yards. Listed here 2022 Southern Mississippi, 55 receptions, 891 yards. None of those particularly dominant seasons, but you look at him and you think, man, sometimes this guy really looks like it. But Charles Goldman says in this article, the Kansas City Chiefs have some new blood on the practice squad ahead of their divisional round playoff game against the Houston Texans. As first reported by Chiefs Digest, Matt Derrick, Kansas City has added wide receiver Jason Brownlee to the practice squad and terminated the practice squad contract of tight end Robert Tonyan. Wide receivers and tight ends, very hot commodities in Kansas City this season. So if you run a 4.40, just send somebody an email. Maybe you'll get called up. Tonyan didn't appear in any games with the Chiefs after he was signed to the practice squad in late December. The team added him after exhausting practice squad elevations of tight end Anthony Firkser. He hardly knows her. But with the playoffs now here, practice squad elevations have reset. This is the athlete in question. Jason Brownlee is 6'2", 198 pounds. Those numbers, the 198 pounds, seems to have stayed steady during his time in the NFL. 9 3/4 inch hands. Those are all kind of upper end of acceptable numbers. 33 3/4 inch arms, giving him an 80 3/8 inch wingspan. The guy has a catch radius that would make Randy Moss blush. Maybe not that extreme, but here's the downside. A 4.59 40-yard dash, and yes, he looks like it. Now, I have some thoughts on that, and I have some thoughts on what it is that he will be perhaps doing on the roster. 4.32 short shuttle and a 6.91 3-cone drill. The 3-cone drill better than the short shuttle. But on that 4.59 40, he has a 1.52 10-yard split. That is 80th percentile compared to a 20th percentile on the 40-yard dash. He is better in short space. That is telling. And it's no wonder when you look at his explosive numbers, a 39.5-inch vertical, 91st percentile, and a 131-inch broad jump, 96th percentile. The guy has short area burst. Kind of confounding when you take into account he looks good downfield. Now he's never open, but he makes the catch anyway. That's kind of, in my opinion, probably what has gotten him into trouble at the NFL level, because college cornerbacks, when you're at Southern Miss, are not NFL cornerbacks downfield. So when you look at his productivity in the NFL in 2023, he started 5 games for the New York Jets. Started 5 games, 8 targets. In 7 games, 5 starts, 8 targets, 5 receptions, 56 yards, giving him an 11.2 yards per reception average. He also had a touchdown and 2 first downs. And I pulled up the advanced statistics too. Nothing particularly telling in there for me, but maybe there's something I just don't see. 62% catch rate. So that is what it is. He ended up playing, pardon me, during the 2023 season, 311 snaps. 311 offensive snaps, 13 special team snaps. For reference, Juju Smith-Schuster this year played 424 snaps. So right around that Juju Smith-Schuster level of play this year is what you were getting from Jason Brownlee. Now, starting off with a couple of notes about the Kansas City Chiefs in general. It is worth noting, in my opinion, that this is a practice squad contract and not a futures contract. He is on the practice squad. He is on the practice field. He is catching passes every day that he is here. So they are going to get a look at him before training camp next year. That is an interesting idea if you think that he has a role for this team bigger than the speculation on what it is that Jason Brownlee is doing in Kansas City. It is also worth noting, and possibly hilarious, the Kansas City Chiefs currently have 6 wide receivers on the active roster. Hollywood Brown, Nuke Hopkins, Nico Remigio, Juju Smith-Schuster, Justin Watson, and Xavier Worthy. They have further 3 wide receivers on their injured reserve: Mecole Hardman, Sky Moore, and Rashee Rice. They also have 4 more wide receivers on their practice squad: Jason Brownlee, Justin Ross, Tyquan Thornton, and I'm blanking on Washington's first name right now for whatever reason, but Washington as well. So this really has this season been a throw the spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks approach. The weird part is no one has ever graduated onto the active roster. The wide receivers that are stuck on the practice squad have never really been called up. I don't think we would have seen Nico Remigio if any of those other wide receivers were going to be, if for example, Juju Smith-Schuster or Justin Watson could return punts, we would not have seen Nico Remigio this year. So it is an interesting dynamic here for the Kansas City Chiefs and that wide receiver position. Now, moving forward to what it is that Jason Brownlee is doing on the Chiefs this year, I'm not sold on the popular conjecture. The conjecture, you pull up these articles. I happen to catch the All Chiefed Up guys on this topic as well, and they seem to be under the impression that Brownlee is being brought in to mimic some of the stuff that the wide receivers do for the opponents. He's a bigger framed wide receiver, got long arms, etc. You don't want it this season Nuke Hopkins responsible for that in practice. You want Nuke Hopkins getting his rest. It is perhaps late in the season for Juju Smith-Schuster and Justin Watson to be playing those roles as well, despite the fact that they are comparably sized. You don't want them running scout team, maybe. But Justin Ross and Tyquan Thornton are 6'4" and 6'2", respectively. So I, personally, don't buy this being a practice squad thing. I think this is a tryout for next season. I think that what you're doing, bringing in a guy, I think he's 25 years old, you're bringing him in order to see what he's got. Do you want to sign him to a futures reserves deal at the end of this season? Do you want to see him on the field moving forward? Do you want to give him an opportunity to be one of the... I remember Jason Brownlee coming out of college. He was one of these guys that was kind of a draft darling for the draftniks, as we are called, because he's always been one of these guys that looked like he was on the precipice of breaking out. And he's one of these guys that you throw around the term, he'll be a better pro than he was in college. He just looked like one of those guys. When Brownlee is at his best, he's doing the same types of things that Justin Ross was doing when Justin Ross was at his best. Brownlee was never a phenom like Ross, but the game itself is similar. They are good with the ball in their hands. They are intimidating receivers physically. So Brownlee's not as tall as Justin Ross, and Brownlee is seemingly sort of slight, but he wears his weight well. So he's a guy with those long arms, 33 3/4. That is a great arm length for an offensive tackle. So at 6'2", being a wide receiver, having that arm length is impressive. He gets away with pushing off sometimes, and I don't know if he will in the NFL. But he is able to joust during the course of his routes. He can pick, he can poke, he can get you off of him. He can beat man coverage. You don't want to press him because he can keep you 5 yards away with those long arms. He is one of those guys. Justin Ross was good at a lot of that too. Justin Ross has not come to pass in the NFL. Brownlee is also good at hands catching, but he doesn't always do that. He can make some incredible grabs, but there's also times where he lets the ball get into his body. I do not know drop numbers on him. I don't think he had drop problems coming out of college, and obviously with the limited opportunities in the NFL, 8 targets, 5 receptions, was it? He couldn't have dropped more than 3 passes, so there's that. But it would not surprise me if a quarterback like Patrick Mahomes throwing the ball with so much zip did start translating into more drops than he has otherwise shown. Now, here's the thing with Jason Brownlee. He's always been a potential guy. He will make a play, and you'll think that guy looks like a future All-Pro. And then he'll just disappear. So I keep referring to Justin Ross. When Justin Ross was the man, Justin Ross was the man. He did not disappear. He was constant. He looked like an All-Pro his freshman year in college. Jason Brownlee is not that guy. Jason Brownlee is the guy who will look like an All-Pro one snap at a time. So if you can coach some consistency out of him, that could translate. So what is the deal with Jason Brownlee? Why bring him in? Why do this? Why make this signing? Why have 13 wide receivers under contract at some level? I think this could be a play at losing Justin Watson and or Juju Smith-Schuster. The wide receiver position will be going through great tumult again this coming season. I think that the natural progression of things is Rashee Rice comes back and he takes the Nuke Hopkins role in this offense. Xavier Worthy moves up to take the Hollywood Brown role in this offense. Maybe Tyquan Thornton moves up into the Xavier Worthy role. And look, Watson is much faster than Jason Brownlee. And he looks it too. So I think that Jason Brownlee might be a play at finding a potential replacement for those 424 reps had by Juju Smith-Schuster in the offense this year. If that is the case, Juju is perplexing because maybe it's not perplexing. Maybe it's what's to be expected because this is the NFL. When Juju Smith-Schuster ran out of Juju, he turned into a pumpkin, and that kind of is what happens to guys at the NFL level. Great run while he had it, but has not been the same, has not approached the same thing since. No shame in that, is what it is. I think that Brownlee could translate into what it is the Chiefs hoped they were getting with Juju Smith-Schuster this season. A guy who's going to go out there, run a 10-yard route, won't have the biggest window for Patrick Mahomes to find him through, but will be able to make the catch when the ball gets there. I think that Jason Brownlee could be a move towards a future 4th or 5th wide receiver on this roster. So next year, you have the number 1 Rashee Rice, the number 2 Xavier Worthy. That translates very much like Nuke Hopkins and Hollywood Brown this season. Though we haven't seen that dynamic much, we're going to, hopefully, see 3 more games of it. And then you have, like I said earlier, the potential that Tyquan Thornton, who runs an incredible 40-yard dash, could move up into the Xavier Worthy role in the offense this year. And then you have but to fill the Justin Watson role, maybe with Justin Watson. And then you have a guy like Jason Brownlee here. So if that works out, that means that they're all pretty good, right? Tyquan Thornton is who he can be. Jason Brownlee is who he can be. And if those guys are producing at the top of their game, at the top of their potential, some things can work out there. Maybe not. It would not be as strong a wide receiver group as they have right now, but would it be as strong a wide receiver group as that with which they came into the season? Yeah, maybe. Didn't have Nuke Hopkins, Hollywood Brown already injured. I think that it would be better than that wide receiver group if just those two things work out. That is all I have for this video. If you like or appreciate what it is that I do here, hitting the like button really does help me out, as it tells YouTube to share this video with other Kansas City Chiefs fans. And if you find yourself here by chance but not design, the Chiefs are the only thing I talk about on this channel, dropping multiple videos every single week, and I hope to have you back for the next one.